Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing challenges. As you know, every week I interview different experts about how they make a difference in people's lives. And today I'm really excited to be interviewing Matthew for the third time. Hi, Matthew. Welcome back.
Third time lucky.
Third time lucky. Yeah, we had a few things on the last two, but let's see.
Oh yeah, I was not well, was I? And then I think the time before you said you weren't so well, so
exactly.
A bit of help in today.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure, I'm digital marketing expert for a company called Manning Global. We're a recruitment and IT services company. I'm based remotely in Zagreb in Croatia, where I met my lovely wife Mia. And then this is the kind of topic that we'll be touching on today when it comes to actually leaving your comfort zone, which for me was the UK, and then chancing it abroad, basically, into the world, the great unknown. So, yeah.
Amazing. I've had so many
comments. Sorry.
No, sorry. I've had so many comments and questions about this topic because I think, especially where I am in Dubai, we've got so many expats, you know.
I know you do. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about this title. So working in a different country, how to adapt and thrive in a new culture. What made you choose this for today? Because I know you are a man of many talents.
Well, what did we have before? The LinkedIn profile optimization. And then we had a general just guide
marketing.
Marketing guide to getting a job in marketing. And then I just thought it just was perfect synergy with what I was working on before in terms of what I wanted to achieve with marketing, and then also experiencing a different culture. So that's why we chose this topic.
Amazing. Well, let's start with so what have been your challenges, like your story with working in a different country first?
Well, first of all, it's in terms of the different culture. I mean, I moved to Croatia in 2016, which is just after Brexit. And that was in the cold winter months when we actually had proper winter here. So adapting to weather, which you'd think for a Brit would be fine because it's pretty cold and rainy. This was really, really freezing. So I had to have extra hairspray for my hair, first of all. First of all, it's just adapting. And on a serious note, I mean, I started the role within a couple of weeks of actually landing here. So the thing is, if you have good HR when you're actually starting the role and them to help you ease with the transition with things in terms of language barriers, which is good in a way in Croatia because you do have a lot of Croatians that actually speak good English. So that wasn't so much of a problem, but just adapting to the culture. Obviously that you're starting the new position, and also when you just start then a new role in a new country, first of all, you actually think you're on holiday because you're so used to whenever you go abroad is just adapting to the culture, having the coffee and so forth, that you don't actually think, first of all, that it's a long-term thing and there's no going back. So maybe you have to have that inner drive in yourself to make sure that it works, because you don't want to be the Brit that comes back after a month and says you failed. Do you know what I mean? So that was the drive for me to make sure that 100% that I had to make it work. And I had a lot of planning that went involved to actually make that decision. I didn't take that decision lightly in the first place to move abroad, but when I made that decision, it was based on several factors, one of which was Brexit, first of all, which we won't go into because we know the ramifications of that. And then after obviously choosing the sector that you're obviously trained in as well. So obviously mine was marketing.
So wait, let's go back then, because, so moving, that's quite interesting actually. Yeah. So before actually the challenges of actually moving abroad, actually it starts before you move abroad, you're saying, isn't it? So you have to make the decision.
Yeah, you have
to. Some people might make a decision and say,
person really. The strange thing is, in my family, I have a cousin who's in one from every part of my family. One member of the family works abroad, lives abroad as well. So I have my cousin who works in Spain. I have another cousin who's in Australia, another cousin who's in Japan, and then I'm in Croatia. So maybe it's in our genes as well. I don't know.
Maybe. But so you were talking about, so you made the decision before. So I guess some people can make a decision. For you, it sounds like you made a decision, I'm going to make it work no matter what. But other people might make a decision and be like, I'm going to try it for a month. If it doesn't work out, I'll come back. So I guess it's good. So I think what you're saying is before you go, decide what you want out of it, sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And you have to adapt to the culture and make sure that the culture suits you. And that's why you have to do your due diligence before, because if you're used to a certain culture and it doesn't reflect well with the culture that you're part of, then you're not going to succeed. You need to have all the ducks in a row to make sure that you actually succeed.
Oh, really?
And that helps with
That's
the
interesting.
HR department. It also helps as well. In LinkedIn, every week you get 100 connection requests. And I know before I moved to Croatia, when I was just sourcing for jobs, I literally spent every week researching these, lining up the contacts to actually have coffee with, and then trying to understand the culture. As a Brit, we're not used to having our coffee sitting down. We used to be 100 miles an hour in London from job to job.
I guess it depends where you are in England. Yeah. London, yeah, that would be a different thing.
Hard to find a coffee bar as well with the weather that we've got, that you can actually have a nice coffee and sit outside in the sun. So, but Croatians like to do their business a different way. So I was setting up meetings all the time with different connections from LinkedIn. These are just...
That was before you went there?
Yeah, this is personal connections on LinkedIn. I'm still friends with a number of these people now. And this is how we met. We met like online, and then you get to meet them in person and you get to see if there's anything you can work on together and collaborate, or even if you just need a friend in that country, because Croatians have been really good in that respect to me. Like,
so basically, just going back, because you've got so many interesting things, I'm trying to slow you down because they're really good points. No, they're really good points you're making. But so you said, so you researched on LinkedIn. So basically you decided that you were going to go and you researched on LinkedIn. What were you looking for on LinkedIn? Because imagine other people might be, because it's a massive...
I was just, you have to research the connections basically and make sure that they're maybe 1 or 2 levels above you basically in terms of seniority, but in the sector that you're looking for, which in my case
in the country as well.
Yeah, obviously in the country that you're looking to move to basically. And then obviously you have to do your due diligence on the company and just see, if it suits you as a perfect person in terms of company culture. And then I always feel it's best to reach out to people direct. I don't see like you have that process, but it just worked for me in terms of reaching out direct to people. So, and then also then you have a support network there for you when you actually get to the country, if you see what I mean, because you've already made...
That's a brilliant idea. But what did you say when you reached out to these people? Because some people might find that quite hard, just to reach out to strangers. Like, what did you say?
I have a template that I've used before, and I was just being honest, basically, that I'm just a Brit that's looking to improve myself, and I've always wanted to work in this country, which is true, and adapt to the culture here. And if there's any way that we can share knowledge in a mutual way, this is my LinkedIn profile, and see if there's any way I can help you at all. Let's meet.
I love that.
Let's meet for coffee when I arrive here. I'm paying.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant, Matthew. I think that's such a good idea, because basically you're just being honest with them. Yeah, and you're paying for the coffee. Yeah.
Everyone needs to take their own initiative on these things, even if it's just every morning. First of all, this is back in the day when newspapers are still going so much, but buying a newspaper just to adapt to the culture, making sure that you're aware of the social norms in the culture, using the embassy in your country as a helping hand as well, which is useful, because these are all tools. They're here to help you and assist you. And in my current company, Manning Global, we have an amazing HR department that assists in everything like that. So they assisted me so much with the bedding in period.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing. So
I think that's brilliant what you're saying. So basically you're saying having that supportive network when you move abroad is crucial, so you can reach out.
You're on your own first of all. It's sink or swim at the end of the day, because if you don't make friends or you don't build connections, the first ever friend I actually made was American. I was in the tobacco shop. He heard me speak in English at the time, and that's how we became friends, and we remained friends ever since. So you're always building connections wherever you go. I can't even remember how we actually met now in terms of how we started collaborating, but once
Me
we
and
did,
you.
and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
then
Well,
once
that's
we
probably,
did,
I think it was through Dan.
yeah, you know, so from another personal connection, then it leads to another one, then it leads to a different opportunity, and that's how it works, really, isn't it? So.
No, definitely. No, I think it's great. So you've got to be open, be proactive, put
Yeah, you
yourself
have
out
to be a
there.
certain type of person because it's scary at first to leave your comfort zone. I could have just stayed in Essex, been content with my life, and gone to London. But you reach a certain age, and if you don't try and push these things, certain things happen in your life to actually give you the push. And then I obviously wouldn't have met my wife as well. So, you know, got my job here, my wife.
Meant to
We
be.
now, we now have the house here as well. So these are all important building blocks, basically. And none of this would have been possible if it wasn't for me taking the risk in the first place. So
Definitely,
nothing like that
definitely.
is ever easy. And the whole process is scary at first, but it's more than worth it because you'll just then experience a different culture. There's so many people that are just content just to live in their comfort zone. But if you don't
And that's
take,
okay as well if they're happy, you know.
no, I
But
agree. It takes a different type of person. If it's something that's
yeah.
makes people content, then fair enough. So
Did you learn the language, by the way?
yeah, that's a bit of a sticking point. I do know I knew more than I did before, and I'm still learning basically. And the good thing is, my company paid for a course, which was a big help as well. First of all, when I moved here, and then I'm learning as and when. But I need to make more of an effort with that, to be honest.
So really, you don't need the language.
You do need the language. I know the basics. I know enough to have conversations, but it would just be nice if I knew more just to speak properly to, well, especially to my in-laws would be a nice thing. So, but
Yeah.
where I live in the capital of Croatia, there's so many people that do speak English, and I do feel guilty sometimes when I'm not speaking 100% Croatian. But
Yeah.
the problem I have at the moment is it's called padagy. There's 7 padagies in Croatia, so there's 7 tenses. So this is where the confusion becomes. So I
Oh,
can say
yeah, that is confusing.
need, shop, but do you know what I mean? But actually
Yes,
having
yes.
and putting it together, and that's what I need to just concentrate more and learn more. So
But
I don't
but
want my
it
wife here
sounds like
the
the
things.
other
So.
things could be more important, like you're saying, being open, respecting the culture, putting yourself
No,
out
this is
there.
the
Of
main
course.
thing. I mean, you have
Mm.
to wherever you move somewhere, you have to respect the culture. The same with you when you moved to the
No,
country.
totally. Well, yeah. I'm thinking about my experience. I mean, I did learn Spanish in one of the countries I was at, but
Yeah.
in most of the countries I lived, I mean, I didn't learn every language. I mean,
Well, you
just
wouldn't because you'd have to have how many languages then?
yeah, like
Be
10 or
multiple,
something.
yeah.
So, and I think I didn't. Of course, it would have been easier. It would have been easier. Sometimes I remember being at places where I couldn't understand anything, and I just felt so
Yeah,
alone.
I know. No, it
But
does.
I got by.
It comes in time. Sometimes when language barriers is the hardest thing because then we miss the cultural norms and
Totally,
least
totally.
confusion. But if you can at least grasp the basics and then learn
Yeah,
more and more every day, we watch
exactly.
a lot of Croatian. There's even Croatian TV shows now on Netflix that we watch, and then we
Oh,
have
brilliant.
subtitles
I
as well,
mean,
and it helps me learn. So
looking back now, I wish I did learn a bit more. Right, we've got a question here on
okay,
Instagram
cool.
from Sonia. Hi, Sonia. How are you doing? She says, okay, what practical steps did you take in your first few weeks or months to ease the transition? I mean, you have mentioned quite a lot, but
Yeah,
what
I mean, I
practical
can go
steps?
through these again. The first thing I
Yeah.
always recommend is actually to buy a travel guide, Lonely Planet guide, or anything like that that you can find off
Do they
Amazon
still have
or
those?
other bookshops that are available. Well, I'm old school when it comes to stuff like that, so it'd be nice.
Okay.
And then obviously, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question as well?
What practical steps did you take in your first few weeks or months to ease the transition?
I mean, as I said before, then you have I'd always recommend LinkedIn, that we're the current platform that we're on, and
That's a
just
brilliant
actually
idea.
go in and make the most of the connection requests. And because that leads to then obviously once you have that connections there, then you've actually began to make friends online, and then that will ease
Brilliant.
the transition process. I would lean on the HR department for the company that you're going to be working on as well, because they need to be, it's in their interest to make sure that you're happy and settled there. You also have meetup groups. So if you just type in meetup and then the country that you be in or the city. And then also when you learn the language, each language school normally has meetup days as well. So social events that you can go to on Saturday and Sunday and so forth. So
that's brilliant.
they're the main things that I would suggest to people just to ease in the transition period.
Exactly. Another question. Have you found any cultural differences that actually helped you grow professionally?
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, a bit of a hard one as well.
Yeah, because a lot of the cultural aspects that I love about Croatia aren't to do with work, because we have
really?
a different mindset when it comes to work. I would say in a way that Brits as a country, we can't switch off so much when it comes to work. There's not many Croatians that I speak to that want to know my job title or my seniority. So, but when you certain Brits, that's all they want to know, isn't it? How high we can go up the career ladder. Yeah, I think it is basically. It is, especially in London. So
okay.
The culture aspect here is just completely different, because I don't think people are so pushed towards with their work. It's more appreciating family time, I'd say.
Yeah.
Which is a nice thing, I think, to be honest. So
definitely.
What else did you say in the question? Sorry, if I can try and answer it.
Have you found any cultural differences that actually helped you grow professionally?
I mean, the thing is, now I work remotely, so it's hard to get the cultural aspect of it so much, because I'm at home, so I'm not seeing the world so much. But I mean, when we were actually in the office pre-COVID, actually meeting different staff members from different teams. We had our recruitment managers, HR, business support, and so forth. And learning from them aspects of the job really helped me as well. But as I said, like, because we're actually 100% remote now, this is not something that we're is currently possible at the moment. So
that's a point. Good point, isn't it? Yeah. What were your toughest moments, and how did you overcome them?
I don't know. I think the first 2 weeks were pretty scary, to be honest. Because
were they? What was going through your mind?
I don't know. The weather was so cold for a start, even for a Brit.
Was
it? And also, it was just a lot harder than I thought. First of all, and a lot scary in terms of this is final now. Because before it was the build up to it, thinking this is going to happen, the excitement. Then once the excitement fades and you realize that you have to make a go of this, because as I said, you don't want to come back in a month's time and fail. So, this is the drive that you need to make it work, but it's hard at the end of the day. I'm not going to lie. There's a reason why people do stay in their comfort zones, because once you get out of it, it's hard. So,
because you realize it's just you. That's the scary thing.
Such a rewarding experience once you do it, but you just have to push yourself. Another way to actually help as well is I joined the gym straight away, which is always a good thing, because then you're actually making friends that way as well. So you're making friends from work, friends socially via social media. You have the meetup groups, and then if you're at a gym as well, keeping the mind active, the body active as well, that's the most important thing. So
looking after yourself. Oh yeah, definitely. And just getting out there, basically. I guess if you'd have moved there now with being online, it probably would have been harder, wouldn't it? Because
I mean, it probably would be completely different now, because so many things have changed. Even just in the space of 2 years now, our currency has changed. So we're now more Eurocentric, because we actually have the euro. Before, Croatia had their own currency. And it's now, I would say, it's now becoming a lot more European than it was before when I first moved, which is a good thing and a bad thing in a way. I mean, it does feel like sometimes it's lost a bit of its soul as a capital city now, but it is what it is.
What else would you say to people watching and thinking about moving abroad? Like, what essential things should they be doing? I mean, you've mentioned a lot about researching, reaching out to people. Is there anything else they should be aware of when they go?
Yeah, they just need to, in all honesty, just like I said before, with reaching out to the connections and so forth, I think that's the most important thing, is to actually build a support system around you, because without actually knowing anyone there, your chances of succeeding are lessened quite a bit. So actually having the network in any way possible there you know, for moments when you're feeling down or anything like that is the most important aspect, I'd say.
You're right. You're right. And how far in did you meet your wife?
Within the first year. So yeah, we met we met on Tinder, and then
Did you? Oh,
it was love at first sight. And then we've only spent like 1 day apart now because she had to go to an event in Austria, and that was it in all these years.
wow.
2018, and then yeah, that's been it since. So
And you knew straight away when you met her on the first day?
yeah, as soon as I looked, I never had love at first sight, and it was for me. So I hope it was for her. She says it was. So
That's amazing though. But that's another thing as well to add into the whole picture. Like you said about leaving comfort zones. Maybe, you know, like I know it sounds really cheesy or it's meant to be, but maybe you had the courage to leave your comfort zone because that was you were supposed to do it to meet your
yeah,
partner.
maybe it was a
Other
sign.
people are not supposed to. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was a sign because I wasn't actually looking for a proper romance at the time, you know, so it was never meant to be like that. It just happens, doesn't it, in life? So certain things
Exactly.
in your life, certain people that you meet at certain times, it all comes together and clicks. So
Exactly. No, it's amazing. Got another question here from Tara. Hi, Tara. She says, have you ever faced misunderstandings or culture clashes at work? How did you handle them constructively?
yeah, we had quite a lot when we were in the office before,
Yeah.
mainly to do with language barriers, basically. But we had a rule in the office where it was mainly just because we had different international speakers and people from different international companies that we had a rule to have English as a language. But you have different temperaments of different countries working together, and some click and some don't. I feel like Brits and Croatians are pretty well suited working with each other because we're honest and actually enjoy the social aspect in terms of meetups as well afterwards. So there hasn't been many times where we've actually led to proper arguments at work and so forth. So there hasn't really been much conflict in that term. So
No. So you wouldn't, the cultural difference is not that.
no, I don't think it is, to be honest, in all honesty. So
Okay. So, okay. And another question from Tara again. How has working in a different country changed your perspective personally and professionally?
Oh, a lot. I mean, yeah, it's completely changed me as a person, in all honesty.
Has it?
Before moving here, I was like 100 miles an hour with everything. It's sort of calmed me down being here, realizing that there is more to life and the world, basically. And when you have different stuff on your doorstep culturally and you're in a different place, then it's more important for you to make the most of it. I live in the city here, but we're also lucky enough to be like 10, 15 minutes walk from the city and the greenery. So that makes a difference.
Wow.
What was the other aspect? Sorry, the question that she said.
How has working in a different country changed your perspective personally and professionally?
Yeah, so personally, it's made me more of a calmer person, I'd say, being here, which is strange because Croatians are known for being fiery compared to Brits, where we let things wash over us, especially if we've had a cup of tea or something. Then we sort of, what do you call it?
Do they drink a lot of tea there?
No, they don't. It's just 100% coffee, in all honesty. You'll never get English breakfast tea. You can get it, but it's not something that the Croatians indulge in. So
Do you still drink tea?
I have to bring my own supply with me. Like when we were in the countryside the other week, I bought mine round to her Bacca's, her grandma's. So yeah, every night I still have my cup of tea after the coffee. So about 8 p.m. Too bad. It has to be Yorkshire tea. So
Oh yeah, no, I'm the same with my tea. Yeah. I mean, I don't have tea out because it never tastes like tea. So yeah, it's just I have to make it.
I love coffee so much, and this is the other amazing thing about being abroad is you have the amazing food, especially in Croatia and Istria and Dalmatia, and then you have the amazing coffee here as well. So they know how to enjoy themselves in terms of the culinary and the dining experiences compared to
Oh
Brits.
really?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh wow, no, I would love to visit. And do you think everyone should experience working abroad at least once in their life? Why not?
No, definitely, I would do if you're that kind of person that wants to experience something different, because it enriches your life in so many ways. But as I said, it isn't for everyone. If you're actually starting a family, um, or you have different goals in life, then obviously it isn't for you, because the actual structure that you've got in place, probably where you are in terms of kids' schooling and so forth, is going to be even harder to achieve in a foreign country. So you have
I
to
was
be in the
saying, I
right
guess it
frame.
depends where you go or not.
Yeah, I think it depends where you go, and obviously you have some roles which give you the relocation package and so forth. But I think some certain decisions are easier, when you're younger. If you see what I mean. I think once you reach a certain age and you've achieved certain goals, then it's a lot harder then to start again, because essentially that's what you're doing when you're moving abroad, is starting all over, which is a challenge in itself, and it's rewarding, but it's also, like I said before, it's pretty scary in a way. So.
It is. No, you're right. You're right. But sometimes it can be scary to stay where you are.
No, I know, definitely. Yeah. You need the best of both worlds. I think we need 3 days in the sun and then come back.
That's true. That's true. Right. So, is there anything else that you want to say about this topic, about working in a different country, how to adapt and thrive in a new culture? What's something that you haven't said that you feel like is really important to add?
I think we've covered all bases. I still think that reaching out to connections on LinkedIn and making new connections and actually researching it properly in terms of the field that you want to enter is the most important aspect here, which we
Do
should
you
concentrate.
really?
Yeah, because this is the sets you up,
Yeah.
basically. So,
Is there anything that you wish you would have known before you made that decision and before you did it that would have made the transition easier for you?
I mean, in hindsight, probably not, because then it wouldn't have sort of led me to making the decisions that I've made since, if you see what I mean. Because even though the first couple of weeks were really challenging and there were thoughts where I thought I made the wrong decision, I wanted to go back, it focuses your mind to actually work through it and concentrate on the positives and actually understand more about the culture and actually the role, and to make sure that you make the most of it. So, yeah, I didn't really have any second thoughts, in all honesty.
No. Any regrets about anything?
My only regret is that I didn't work in London and New York, to be honest. I would have
Oh,
loved
really?
I would have loved to work in New York in my 20s, but I reached a certain age where, like, it's obviously not possible now. So
Anything's
yeah,
possible.
that was my and not being a rock star would have been thing. Would have been nice.
Well, it's never too late until it's too late.
Yeah, true. But apart from
You
that,
know?
nothing really. Yeah, and yourself?
Sorry.
I said
Oh,
apart from that, nothing really. So
and me. Any regrets? I think I'm working too much.
yeah,
Yeah, but I'm changing that now. So,
that's good.
but no, thank you so much, Matthew. It's been so interesting, like all the things you've said, and
Thank you,
I think that's such a, really important. Well, you've said lots of important tips, but researching on LinkedIn. I mean, yeah, using this whole online platform. I mean, when I first went away, yeah, that wasn't there. We didn't have.
No,
I don't
exactly.
think LinkedIn was even there.
This is the most important thing, to make the most of it. But if anyone needs any hand with anything that we discussed in today's session, then feel free to get in touch with me. You just type in Matthew Elliott into LinkedIn, and I'll have to answer any questions. So
no, amazing. And you also you write lots of blogs, don't you?
yeah, we write the blogs on blog.manningglobal.com. We've touched on certain aspects with company culture and actually not so much working abroad, but in terms of remote work and so forth. So that can be found at blog.manningglobal.com. So yeah, we have over 400 articles on there now.
No, amazing. Can you put those links on the LinkedIn post so people can click on it? But no, that's brilliant, Matthew. And yeah, if anybody has any questions about this topic or anything to do with marketing or remote work, please contact Matthew directly. He will also put his links on the post and you can click on that as well. Send him a message or write on the post. And thank you so much, Matthew. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Third time lucky, so
yeah, third time lucky. And I'm sure we'll do another one about
I appreciate it, yeah. Whenever.
I remember we said before, didn't we? We would do one about matchmaking. But yeah, thank you, Matthew, and thank you everybody, and I'll see you next week.
Okay.